Some of these folks out here I know are songwriters or aspiring songwriters, and one of the reasons that I think it's that I was interested in doing this series in the first place is because I wanted to give these guys an opportunity to hear and observe what it is that real songwriters do,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, you talked earlier about how that has changed a little bit over the years as you've continued to write, but tell these guys a little bit about the actual process.
Okay. For me, you know, so I can tell you when I first started, I was really driven by the guitar music, and I'd hum into it, you know, hum over it, and just kind of try to conjure up words, you know, get a line or two that sounded like it made sense and felt good, and I'd build on that. I do a lot less of that now. I usually start with an idea. It could be really random on the page, and it might be halfway down the page. I sometimes deliberately write what I'm thinking in the middle of the page on the right, because I don't think it's always going to be the title or the focus of the whole lyric. And then I just play with the lyric until I think I've got it fleshed out as content, not as stuff that rhymes. I mean, I'm looking for those rhymey lines, but I'm trying to find the details that make the story compelling and that say the things that maybe I wouldn't have said if I was trying to rhyme too hard. You know, sometimes you write you could write 4, 5, 10 pages worth of content out about a story or a thought, a thing that happened to you or situation, whatever. And you can come up with a lot of material that you don't think at first belongs in the song, but if it pulls at you and you like what you said, even if it's quirky, you can figure out ways to get quirky stuff in there and then have the details really make your story come alive. Then worry about the title, then worry about what that you've written, what might be the refrain that ties it together. Then worry about the chorus. After you've got all the guts and the meat on the bones, then I think you can name it, and then you can do that's sort of where I come at it. You know, I like to write the story and feel like I got something to say first before I start trying to stick it into the lyric box or the verse, chorus, verse, chorus. I break the rules all the time with that too. I break the rules all the time.
That was one of my points I was going to make about your songwriting is you do break the rules a lot.
Yeah.
And so we talk about the rules, or what are the rules, right? There's a pop form, and it's basically the pop form is what you hear on the radio, whether you're listening to country music or you're listening to pop music or you know, rock and roll music. I mean,
yeah.
And it's, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out. You know,
or maybe third verse, chorus, out.
Right.
Yeah. If you're writing a country song, it's in that 3 to 3.5 minute thing, and so you probably aren't including a third verse. If you want there to be a solo, you're taking up. That's where your third verse would have gone.
Right.
You got to say things pretty quick.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
3.5 most.
That last song, Scarecrow, is probably over 4 minutes.
Right.
And I like to fall into that pattern. It's comfortable for me, and I know it's comfortable for the listener to write a verse and a refrain and a verse, refrain, chorus, same thing. Sometimes, though, the Damned If I Know isn't really a chorus, it's more of a one-line thing.
It's a refrain.
But then to get to the bridge, I love doing that. I do. I like the challenge of writing a bridge. Some of the songs that I've written that don't have bridges probably need a bridge.
Talk about that. What is it? Tell this audience, what's a bridge?
A bridge is just a departure. It might be different in tone, definitely different melody and different chords than the rest of the song. So you got your, the bridge in Scarecrow. I'm still down here, okay. I chase off a flock of thieves, that part. One lone robber ain't afraid of me. Where she lands and when she leaves, ain't got much to do with me, you know. The metaphor through that whole song stays pretty consistent, but a bridge can depart from the whole thing, you know. So your bridge, you could be singing a song about, you know, a bad day at work, but the bridge might talk about your dad, you know. Maybe your dad's working or something, and you're thinking back on your old man and how hard he worked, and maybe the bridge just goes somewhere else, but you loop back to what the story at hand is, which might be the third verse. You're coming back to the song about your bad day, and maybe the third verse, because you reflected during the bridge about your first two verses, complaining about your job.
You know, even
Maybe that's what happens. Is the third verse, the bridge, you talk about your old man working harder than you did, and getting you through life, or maybe your mom, and or maybe,
it's really where the
yeah.
thesis sentence
Then
is.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of times the bridge is really, this is what, okay, all this other stuff I'm showing you, you know, with these stories and these word pictures, and the bridge is this is getting at the essence of what.
Yeah. You do try to distill. I think I'm a rule breaker, so I don't care if the bridge does a certain thing or not. I enjoy the bridge to be its own thing. I definitely love that part. Whether it ties it all together, you know, it might be that, you know what I do sometimes, and this is cheating too. I'll write a 4-verse song, and I'll see that it needs a bridge, and I'll take the third verse and break it up into pieces and do something else with it. And it's still content, but I'll take the one that doesn't belong as well with them. Of the 4 verses, okay, now I don't have a bridge, and I know that I don't really need a 4-verse song, but I got it. And so what if I took the third or one of the verses and just reconstructed it, pulled a few things away from it, added a few things. And I've done that to songs where now I got a bridge and it still has the content that I had intended in the song.
So illustrate that. Play a little bit, even if you just play part of the song. You play a little bit of what you're
illustrating.
All
right. I got an old song about a guy. Something I do a lot. I tell stories about other people. I don't always talk about myself, you know. So this is a buddy of mine, and this is another one of those railroad town kid songs that I had. He was on my baseball team when I was 12. His name was Brian Jones, not the Rolling Stones guy. Just a kid named Brian Jones. His dad worked for the railroad. See, so I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I'll play the first verse, get you started, and I'll play the bridge, and I'm gonna tell you that the bridge was a verse. I just changed the music, okay? I'm up early crossing town, the gravel shakes my Schwinn. I cross the tracks and hop the fence, and his mama lets me in. Brian Jones is still asleep, so she and I drink coffee. She cooks me up a scrambled egg, and we play a hand of rummy. The kitchen air is getting warm, the sunlight hits the table. We both swat the flies away and take our turns to shuffle. Then I say nicely, Mrs. Jones, can I go to the pasture? She says yes you can, feed the horse and ride him after. It pays to be the early bird, it's cooler in the morning. I do the chores and ride the horse while Brian Jones is sleeping. I'll just tell you right now that Brian never wakes up in the song. He sleeps through the whole thing. Okay, so I'll go down to the bridge now. I'm going to skip the second verse. Well, I saddle up the little brown. Brian named him Taxi. He don't fight too much when I get on, and he don't try to buck me. He likes to walk, he likes to trot, he likes to gallop faster and run me through a walnut tree. Land me in the pasture. That's the bridge. Then I get into the last verse. So I go down to the minor. Well, I saddle up the little brown. Brian named him Taxi. It's a musical departure to break up the monotony of going back to the same melody for the verse 3. I just changed it, you know. So I could go, okay, so let me see if I can do it. Well, I saddled up the little brown. Brian named him Taxi. I recorded it that way the first time. I didn't have the bridge. And I listened to it. It went on in a compilation out of Chicago. And then I listened to it and I thought, why did I sing this whole song without ever writing a bridge for it? And I just took the third verse and I just knocked the crap out of it and turned it into a bridge.
Yep.
That's my rule, knock the crap out of it. Yep.
Do you feel like you chose to be a songwriter, or did it choose you? Is this a calling?
Yeah, I think it is. I tried to do other things. I was bad at a lot of things. I had so many jobs through my 20s. I worked at a nursery, tree nursery. I worked in a Kilpatrick's bakery depot, cleaning trucks, bagger. I worked at a deli, 3 gas stations, UPS for a week. I was a pipe fitter with my dad. That was my most steady work, was working in my dad's business, doing construction, digging ditches and putting sewage pumps in.
So you tell a lot of stories in your songs, and you made the point earlier, which I've noticed before, about you write a lot of songs about other people.
Yeah.
So this is a small group of people here. We're all within the cone of silence, and
Yeah, except there's cameras everywhere.
but other than that, what song really reveals the most about Michael McNevin?
Can I look at my list?
Yeah.
All right. For those aspiring dropouts, and you want to play music, you're probably going to start playing bars. Maybe not, but don't be afraid to. This is my covers list. This has got all the Beatles, Paul Simon, Jimmy Buffett, Elton John, Creedence, Kenny Loggins, Dylan, Gordon Lightfoot, Pink Floyd. And then this side's got my originals on it. Most of these are the old ones I don't know anymore. And I just going to tell you the name of it. Do I have to play it? Oh, that's different. Okay. Let's see. Most revealing. I gotta say, I'm a bit of a chicken. I don't like to write about me too deeply. I like to tell the story and then let it hit the listener in the stomach, however it does. Well, what's the question again?
What song do you have that reveals the most
Reveals
about
the
you?
most about me. You know, I think they all do, you know. It's a generic answer, but they do.
Well, you have to choose one and play it. So.
Man, I know. I can tell you that I am moved by certain songs that I've written because they are near and dear to me. If I write a song and I cry the first 10 or 15 times I'm singing it, it probably means it means a lot to me, and I have to get past that point before I can play it. Or while I'm playing it, I got to hold back stuff, you know. So I can play that and try not to cry. I can do that. It's a song about my mom. So my mother and both my mom and dad grew up in the Mission District in San Francisco. It's in the projects. They moved from Connecticut and New Hampshire as kids and moved into the same building in 1945. And when they got older, they fell in love. My mom was always hanging out with my dad's little sisters. But just before they even started dating, my mom was a junior in high school. She was in Glee Club. You know what that is? Theater. You know, singing, dancing. And she had a job at a Five and Dime, making a little bit of money. And she didn't have the idea of kids yet, didn't have the idea she was going to be married yet. She just had a different thing in her head. And this is the day in the life of my mom. She told me the story of this day. And then 10 years later, I wrote the song about it. You know, sometimes you carry a story with you for a while before it becomes a song. I think this is right. Okay. This is called Margaret, 1956. Margaret skipped class today. She did not go to Glee Club. Took a puddle jumper to LA to walk around in Hollywood. Standing tall on a corner, a cotton dress on and her hair back. Saddle shoes and bobby socks, a needle in a haystack. She's a ringer for Kate Hepburn. She could play her daughter. And if they drive past her all day long, maybe one of them will spot her. Margaret skipped class today. She did not go to Glee Club. Took a puddle jumper to LA to walk around in Hollywood. She lifts her chin and looks ahead, just like she learned in theater. She's a long way from her high school play, but she's not afraid to be here. 'Cause she can sing and she can dance, and she can hold a pose for hours. Like a statue in the Rose Parade, like a Pasadena flower. Margaret skipped class today. She did not go to Glee Club. Took a puddle jumper to LA to walk around in Hollywood. Sometimes you do your best when you don't know the odds. Sometimes you gotta guess like you knew it all along. Like you knew it all along. Afternoon, the sun is low, and time moves like molasses. She still imagines they may come and ask her what her name is. Margaret skipped class today. She did not go to Glee Club. Took a puddle jumper to LA to walk around in Hollywood. Sometimes you gotta try, even though you don't know why. Sometimes you do some things that don't seem silly at the time. She caught her plane and she came home. Her folks were very worried, but that was Margaret's last hurrah. She settled down and married. Mom, I love the way you watch the Rose Parade for hours. How after all these many years, you still love the floats and flowers.